Let's do it.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Blank podcast. I'm here with Cards with, all right, so you typed it in Cards, Esther and Rachel, but it's Cards with Esther and Rachel.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now I've had you both on separately.
Oh, I didn't even write anything on here.
Whoops. Esther's going to rename us right now, so it's right. Yeah, so you've had us both on separately.
And you've both listened to both of your episodes. Did I do a good job? No?
Yeah. No, it's with.
Oh, shit.
Hold on, I'm half a nerd. Yeah. Yes, I enjoyed both of them. I enjoyed Esther's more than mine, obviously. I think I did. What did you say at me?
Because she was in a hot car on her lunch break.
No, I liked both episodes. They were great, but Rachel's is definitely like awesome and random.
Well,
like she is. And mine was like to the point, like I am.
This is true. You're very indicative of our personalities, I think.
I had to pull up on air what junior nerd shit meant, and then she like immediately get to see the side eye.
I told you it was going to come, but I felt terrible because Esther told me afterwards, she was like, yeah, so that guy had just died. And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, she didn't know that, though.
No idea. I was like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, because I knew how important that was to her and Theon, but I also know how much I like to rag on them about it, because I always mess up the name. That's why I just started abbreviating it Junior Nerd Shit, and they would be like, it's not Junior Nerd Shit, and I'm like, yeah, no, really.
See, I got the full force trauma from that because I brought it up and I don't really know her that well. So when I did, she like looked at me like that guy just died. And I looked like the asshole. And I was like, all right, great. That was wonderful.
No, it's okay.
So
it's
Sorry.
okay. It's okay. He was elder.
Did
So that
either
makes
of
it
you,
okay.
yeah, does that make it okay?
Kind of. He lived a really good life.
He lived as he died.
Yeah. He lived a good
Junior
laugh,
nerd
so he would have been he's happy wherever he is.
I love it how you're trying to convince yourself and all of us that. Have you guys, either of you, bothered to play Crazy Eights in honor of the only game I've ever played that's a card game?
No, we have to buy it.
But
It's just a deck of cards.
Oh, well, I've never fucking played. I don't play it.
I was like, no, we don't. We have deck
Oh.
cards.
I thought it was like an actual game.
I mean, you can see them sold in the store like that, but it's legit. You're like, that's dumb if you buy that, because it's just a deck of cards, and you can do more with a deck of cards than like one thing of Crazy Eights. Just saying.
So we'll have to buy a deck of cards.
I have decks of cards. I got like 1,000 of them.
I used to work at a hotel. I had like people would just buy those on vacation. Then when there was, I guess, nighttime, nothing to do in the hotel, they would just play all day. So I would pull out countless of them out of the rooms and stuff that people would just leave behind, because they're like $1 at a gas station. It's like buying beef jerky or something, except it's not in your pocket.
Right. So I learned to shuffle with one summer, because that's all I had to play with was a deck of cards. We lived in this apartment that had a big couch. You know what a big couch is? When you don't have a couch and the entire floor is your couch. That's how my mom tried to like spin it. She was like, look, we have the biggest couch ever. And I was like, no, we don't. And then we had this TV that was so staticky and old. It was like one of the ones where you had to turn both of the channels to get the channel. And then it would go purple, like just like neon purple, like the tube was on. My mom used to be so broke though. Like this is back when you could write checks. She would go to Walmart and write a check for a TV on the weekend, right? Just to rent a TV for us, basically rent a TV for us, because she knew it wouldn't like cash over that time. And then she would go back and return it on Monday and get her check back.
That's some legit shit.
Now, I'm going to ask Esther, you're going to have to share a struggle story here too. I will share that my mom, for instance, goes to like Rent-A-Center. And then she does like, I'm going to put this couch, like we can't sit on the furniture in our house because she's still paying it off. I'm like, we've had this couch for 4 fucking years. How long are you still paying it off? She's like, like that was a thing. I just feel like you have to throw all your money out at first and buy the thing. I wouldn't want to keep put payments on like a sofa or futon.
Yeah, because it's not like a car. You can't just trade it in for a better one.
At the end of it, and you're like, damn. And then the price is just so jacked up on it too. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no.
Is it better to buy out front or better to put on layaway? Some people say it's better to slowly put some money aside and pay for it, like a pay to own.
I think it depends on your situation, your money situation. I mean, you'll be paying more if you buy rent to own it though. So just with the interest that they put on it. So
Big debate. Is it better to rent or own when it comes to getting a house?
Ooh, that's tough. I really think you have to look at the market. I think you have to look where you live, the resale value. I mean, there's so many different factors. For instance, so like where we live here, our housing values in the past like 3-4 years have gone up so significantly. Like there's almost 50,000 grand. $50,000 in like equity in my home in the past like 6 years. Now, I don't know if that's a bubble or not, but that's insane. Some areas, like it's really, really worth it. And the rent market's so saturated and the price of rent is so much more than owning your own home. So I guess it just depends, you know?
yeah.
I look at like if there's a dartboard behind me, here's the 2020 dart, and I'm throwing it and it does not even get close to the dartboard. So I'm like, this is like the worst time to make any financial decisions. People that are thinking about buying a home, I'm like, it's 2020. You never know what's going to happen.
But at the same token, if you do take that jump and you go from there, like, man, you don't know. With all the financial instability, you might be forgiven and like have a home that's free. Like later on, because you know all of like the legislation that's come out and everything. I don't know.
How much do you know about legislation?
A lot.
You tossed that word out like it was like.
So sometimes I'm really smart, and then other times I'm not.
But is it better to be like serious all the time? Or is it better to have fun and then be smart when you want to be?
I like that.
Yeah, same.
Well, I like to keep it hidden. Some people don't expect it, and I'm like, brah, brah, brah.
Yeah.
Like a hidden menu item. I love those types of things.
Yeah, they don't expect me to be smart most of the time.
Like you can get chicken tenders and French fries, but then the chef's like, but on the secret side, I can cut them up into dinosaurs for you. And you're like, what?
Well, you see how excited I got over there? I was like, where? Where are they going to do that? I'm going.
All right. So I asked Esther the question of like, if somebody wrote on a card, you know, your death day, would you want to read it? But a good one, if someone wrote on a card to both of you saying, what is the meaning of life? Is it so simple as just having dinosaur nuggets when you go out to eat and just being like a kid? I feel like that's what all adults chase down in the end anyway, is just being a kid.
Right. Just that happiness that you're missing.
I mean, if I opened a card and that was the meaning of life, I don't know if I would be disappointed. I would be like, okay. I mean, I'm cool with that. I might really be okay with that. I don't know if I'd look for something deeper. What if it was like red shoelaces are the best shoelaces?
Boom.
Okay. I guess that's what we're rolling with.
Then I'm going to like look at the next card and be like, it's going to be, ignore the last card. That last card was just a lie.
And then the next one is going to be like, or is it?
It just keeps going.
Your perfect like combo to make a card game. Like I kind of was mentioning this with Esther, is like, why don't you have your own card game? Literally, it's like the best idea. Just write down random thoughts that come to your guy's head and put them on cards. There's going to be serious ones. Esther's going to be tossing out a lot of those, a lot of like deep, meaningful ones. Like, hey, make sure you look in the mirror and say you're loved. And then Rachel's going to be like, did you know that you can cook a goose in the oven? And then it's going to lead to like a whole other thing. And I'm like, that would be perfect.
It's just be called like ridiculousness. Like just that.
Yeah.
You don't know what's happening.
I don't know.
Either. Exactly. You just said it and I said it.
What would you say from doing the podcast that has, I guess, upgraded both of you? I would say, like you talked about, now you can shuffle cards. I still can't do that. All I can do is put them all in one hand and flick them like that, and they all just start flying over the room. And then you got to pick them up, which I usually do. My little nephew pick them up.
50 card pickup. Wait, it's 52, right?
Yeah, I'm done.
Unless you take the jokers out, because they don't mean anything.
Then
They don't.
50. All right.
I don't know. I found how much dumber I am because we played a trivia one. We played a trivia card game, and I felt dumb as fuck. So I don't know if heightened myself.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I can answer the heightened one. I know what I've discovered is that I might be a worse person than like I need to do a whole lot more good deeds in like my other life to make up for what a shitty person I might be in this one. I'm just kidding. That maybe. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of like a good game that would be like that I think would wake a lot of people up. Like, this is a game on morals. It's like, what did you do today? And then you have to write it down on a card, and then it lands like a good or bad. And at the end, you get like to figure out if you are a good person or not.
I think in general, for real, a good person is someone who legit does not try to hurt other people. And I think if you follow that rule, like if you're conscientious about your own feelings and being kind to others and just kindness and like love, I think you're a good person.
Yeah.
Well, every card game or any board game ends up like a competition. I'm like, can I just get one where like everybody win? Not like a participation trophy.
Oh man, I was like, do you believe in participation?
No, I hate that. There's a clear winner and there's a clear loser. You just got to
Always.
know. But I think that like in a game where you're playing with your family and stuff, I'm like, it should be a game where like you just end up finding out fun facts. Like, can I just get a bunch of like you said trivia? That's still a competition though.
Yeah.
Can I just like you pull a card, you get a joke. You pull a card, you get a laugh, or not a laugh, you get a fact.
There's a couple
like the best friend game. That one was kind of like
like getting to how much do you know the other person. It's not really a competition, but there are a bunch of card quote unquote games that are more like conversation starters.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of them out there now.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be digging into some of those.
Done some of those too.
Yeah,
in our earlier episodes, I think we had more.
Yeah, it wasn't like the game, but we might. We'll probably bring those back up. There's a card deck that's called So ... and it's more just like questions about your life, and they will get deep as fuck on you too. So
how deep are we talking about? Like that one time you were in middle school, and then it leads to something else.
Yeah,
it can. Yeah. Some of those questions it was like, the one that comes to my mind is, when you get angry, are you more like your mom or dad? It's like questions like that. It's like deep questions.
And why?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, that one was real, because some of them I was like, nope, not answering that. Nope. Throw that one away. That was not happening.
Have you ever tried, like you said, the best friend game? Have you ever guys tried playing a game where you learn more about the other person?
When we played the best friend game, it was actually about our two friends that are both named Ashley. Yeah, so it was like Ashley and Ashley. It was like the battle of the Ashleys. How much do we know about each of them? Mm-hmm. So, yeah,
we have kind of done that. I mean, we'll always bring some back because I think it is funny when people, have spent so much time together, they know a ton of stuff, but then they'll always find that one thing where they were like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is kind of funny.
All right, so that brings up a good point. So there's a thing that if you spend enough time with somebody, you end up picking up sort of like their personality traits and sometimes their mannerisms and also facial features too. If you live with somebody long enough, you can actually develop certain lookalikes. You just gave Esther the biggest side eye that I've ever seen, so I'm starting to think you're picking up on that quality.
That because my favorite word apparently that I don't even realize is I say, hold on. And
so you say it like, hold on.
I'm pretty sure our last episode can confirm that. Yeah.
Did you hear it? I'm not sure.
I think every time I was trying to say something, like, hold on a second.
I'm so sorry. Like, I try not to do it like that. But I say it all the time because I'm like, it's a lot of time I've got to understand something. So I'm like, hold on. But on our
I've started saying it.
She started saying it. And I was like, so we play a drinking game with our listeners. If you're listening, every time I say hold on, you should take a drink. Which means that most of our listeners probably don't make it past the first like 10 minutes.
If they're really playing, if they're actually drinking.
But when Esther says it, you have to take two because it's not her word.
Yes. So I don't know any other.
That really makes me think about like trying to do that for my podcast. Like how many times does poop get brought into it? I feel like people would get hammered after the first minute.
I mean, you totally should. I'm concerned that you talk about poop a lot.
I don't know what happens. I randomly get a guest that'll be like, hey, have you ever had this happen? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you're eating too many fats if that's what's happening.
Okay, so if you've ever listened, I don't like poop talk.
Really?
She states she does not fart.
I do not.
Do you have to leave the room to do it?
First of all, it doesn't happen, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, I've read the childhood book, Everybody Poops. Everyone does it.
I don't know what book that is. I have never seen it, so if I have never seen it, it does not happen.
You've never seen that book? You have kids.
I mean, pleading the fifth.
I was like, wait.
I cannot confirm or deny that statement.
To the best of my recollection, I don't know what you're talking about.
You guys should play a lie detector. You guys got to switch it from more than card games. I don't know anything.
One. We have a lie detector game.
We didn't have video at that time, but we did do a couple of
So we're going to have to bring that back too.
Yeah.
And I'm always wanting to like integrate it anyway to like even regular games because I feel like everyone's trying to cheat. And they are. I know they are.
I want to get the Korean one, or that I've seen in Korean variety shows. It's like you put your whole hand in it and you get asked a question and you say like yes or no, and it shocks you if it's wrong. So you get a whole fucking shock to your hand.
I don't want to do that one because I don't want to.
This is like Would You Rather, where it's like you stick your arm and like, all
right, you're just like,
There's an old school movie with Seth Green where it's like a Halloween movie, Idol of Hands. The band Yellow Card was in it. I don't know if you've ever seen that. But his hand becomes possessed by the devil and he takes it on one of those old bagel cutters like to look like a guillotine. Imagine if you had to do that. If you get a question wrong, your hand comes off.
I don't want to be that extreme.
I'm not putting my hand in it because
What would you do for content?
Not that.
No, not that.
I still need a hand for content.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a fingernail. What's a fingernail? Just a fingernail.
Like the whole.
Yeah. No, not like rip it off. I mean, I'd like clip it. You can clip my fingernail. What? My nails are long. Did you see it?
Yes.
She doesn't like to mess with me.
I think that's like the funnest part about your podcast, though, is that you both have these like two completely different personalities, but somehow they're similar. Like there's just stuff where like you guys both like, it seems like Esther in middle school was like the type of like, I'm going to do my work and I'm going to have fun. And like, but I'm going to, you know, be appropriate, you know, curfew type hours. And then Rachel's just like, hey, I'm here. Let's have fun. Like I like both personalities are kind of different, but they go together in the same.
So Esther, did you win superlatives in high school?
No, I wasn't popular.
Well, okay, I couldn't remember. That wasn't like a jab. I knew that there had extra. So Esther
I didn't give a fuck.
No, Esther's high school had a whole bunch more stuff than my high school did. Like they had a whole bunch more clubs because I like accuse Theon and Esther all the time of like lying about stuff. So I didn't know if they had like extra like superlatives for the clubs.
We do have, well, not for the clubs, but like, you know, like most to do this and this, such.
Yeah,
who will stay?
We didn't. Yeah, no.
The most likely to stay in fucking Effingham County.
Yeah. See, we had like the general ones, so that's why I was asking that. And pretty much every year I won Mouth of the South. No one is surprised by this. I had a desk outside of a lot of my classrooms. Every single one of my report cards says she talks too much. I spent a lot of time like.
We had that in like elementary school, and then I looked over. I always got class clown, and then there was like most.
Yeah, I got that one.
It was like most likely to succeed, and then I look. I'm like, that guy is living on the streets and is nothing like that at all. I'm like, these books were completely off.
Yeah.
Well, I got class clown a few times too, so I was like, My mom was not always so proud of those things. Ironically, though, my brother, the middle one, he followed and he got class clown pretty much every year too. So something's there.
Is it?
Either that or we were suppressed as kids. You used to go to school and get it out. That's probably it.
Why do you keep getting in trouble? I'm having home issues.
I mean,
well,
can you imagine if a kid said that now? I mean, because that's really why kids get in trouble in general. And they just point blank said that. I think if I was their teacher, like, I would just be like,
I think
Well, let's reassess how we're going to deal with you.
I think teachers now either swing really, really far to one side or really, really far to the other, to the point where like they completely ignore the child,
Yeah.
or they're at the part where they pay way too much into something. Like I remember in school, I drew, like, we had to create our own characters and stuff, like little like stick figures that we put up on a wall. And mine was a skateboarder because I like to skateboard. So I was like, what do I always fall. I'm not very good at it, obviously. So it's like, there you go. I get scabby knees. So I would take the red crayon and I would draw a lot of red. And then I just started being like, oh, he like fell off a half pipe and now he's got this busted leg. And the teacher called my parents in and was like, your son is extremely like, there's something wrong with him. He's disturbed. And I'm just like, what did I do?
You're not supposed to use the red crayon.
I shouldn't put it in there then. That's my thought process.
Have you ever had a guidance counselor like hand you a pack of crayons and be like, you're one of these crayons, pick one, and that's who you are? And then like there's like the 48 pack where it's got like turquoise and shit. And you're like, this is the most confusing decision I've ever had in my entire life.
Why do you have to just be one crayon? Well, damn, lady, that's like a lot of pressure. Like we don't get to choose different crayons throughout our lives. I want the whole damn box. How about you sit down? See, this would not go well for me.
My guidance counselor was the best. He was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm like, I don't know. He goes, that's what you're going to be. Nothing. And I'm like, oh, so.
Damn.
Wow.
Was it bad trauma or was it really good thinking? Because now I'm more productive than I've ever been because I don't ever want to be nothing. It's some Freud shit. Look at that.
I mean,
Damn.
maybe, but that guidance counselor still needs a kick in the balls. That's just for,
Yeah.
whatever.
The whole point is to guide it.
Just a nut tap.
I don't even remember ever speaking to the guidance counselor, honestly.
Well, probably because you had your shit together.
Like, low key, I was drawing a lot of pictures that weren't the best.
They just had bloody knees, which
like
actually I have now. I do have bloody knees all the time. I constantly fall.
Bloody knees. Poor Esther and her knees. They just take a beating. They really do.
They're sad right now.
We've gone out so many times.
I literally just started thinking of the scene Super Bad where he's just drawing dicks all over the paper and they're like, well, you need to go to the principal.
Well,
when I draw, I tend to doodle, and then when I doodle,
she doodles sticks.
And then I have to like, and they're bad because, so Esther and I have this argument. What's the best way to draw a dick? She says you can't draw from the balls up, but that's how I draw.
Rachel draws the balls first and then goes up. It's like, no, you have to go up and then down.
Yeah, why are you drawing upwards? That's like wiping from the front to the back.
I don't know. I like to draw the balls first.
I love. There you go. It got Esther. I know how she likes it. You should have saw her face as soon as I said. She's like, what?
No, I definitely don't do that. But like, I feel like the balls are neglected. So I always have to draw the balls first. And I don't know, because I feel like when I've gone from the top down, they end up either like giant or they end up like just very small and it looks stupid.
It's like when I draw my name in block letters and by the time I get to the last two letters, there's like
it's like
on the paper.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so, you just, I don't know.
She's a trooper. She is a trooper. I love what she says. She thinks the balls are neglected. I've never heard that. And in my experience drawing dicks, I've only really drawn downwards. I've never drawn it upwards like that.
Well, maybe everyone needs to.
Maybe we should try.
All right, kids, today in class, we're learning how to draw.
From the balls up.
Right?
Balls up. That should be a shirt.
It should be.
Balls up.
Have you thought about creating merch?
I've thought about it. We are in the works of changing our little icon because we need to update. Yeah. So maybe when we change our icon, then we can definitely do merch. But I don't know. I think merch is kind of meh right now too. Like, who the fuck wants to buy a $25 t-shirt and you might your ass is like not even working or like shit like that? I don't know. I think merch at a time like this is kind of stupid for me right now.
So perfect for your logo. Do a queen. Do 2 queen cards and then have your face be on one and Esther's face on the other.
Okay.
It's actually not a terrible idea.
I'm what they call an advertiser. I'm like really good at advertised marketing, but I'm just way too lazy to do it for myself.
I get it. I'm one of those too.
Yeah, you're more of the thinker, not the creator. That's how Theon usually is. He comes up with a bunch of ideas, but like if we actually had people to create it, it would be awesome.
So I'm actually thinking about something right now, and this is about not the logo, but I'm thinking of a game where you have to ask 5 questions, and they're written on cards. So technically, it's in your wheelhouse because it deals with cards. I don't know the whole limits here, but that means everyone gets to ask the questions. So if I had to ask both of you a question, and then you get to ask me a question, you get to ask yourselves a question, you get to think of a really deep question. So sit and think on it. You get 5 of them.
There's so much pressure right now.
Yes.
Oh my God.
So think. And I will fill in the blanks with light tapping of my fingers.
So much pressure. 5 questions. About what? Anything?
Okay, I'll toss out a good one. Best childhood memory.
I'm sorry, that was me.
Honestly, okay, so we used to go down to Jekyll Island, which is like almost 2 hours from where we live now. And my mom's Korean, so we would bring out the rice cooker, Korean meats. We would sit there and catch crabs and like boil them shits up.
That sounds
and
fucking awesome.
It's awesome. And all the white people around us were like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like the rice cooker, the only outlet was why the bathroom.
Wait,
so the rice cooker
was plugged into the bathroom?
It wasn't like in the bathroom. It was like on the outside of the bathroom because it's almost like, well, you know, like beach. Yeah,
okay, yeah.
It's like campground. So the only outlet was there. So there's just one little tiny rice cooker cooking the shit out of rice by the bathroom. And we're out there grilling like crazy meats with the smells. And white people are like, what the fuck? Hot dogs and hamburgers. So I don't know. I would love to redo that again.
That sounds like fun. We can do that.
We could do that.
Oh, you got it. I need to recreate the whole, like, you have to cook it near the bathroom.
Hell yeah, shut up. That's like, that's the best part about it because people are like, what the fuck is this?
I'm down. It's like when you go to a barbecue or you go to a park and you're trying to barbecue and someone comes out beside you with like the expert grill and then all like the exotic, like I got Wagyu that's aged 20 years and you're sitting there like, well, this hot dogs with cheese in it is just a shit idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Both now and later.
I like hot dogs with cheese though. Why are you giving me that look? Wait, look.
I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't have the cheese. But I do eat cheese, but it's not going to be great later.
Can we not talk about
this?
Rachel, you got to share your childhood best experience.
So we used to go roller skating, and I actually love to roller skate, and so that was a ton of fun. And I'm actually what is that? My first job was at Sonic, and I was like,
I've never been to a Sonic. Do they really come out on the roller skates?
So we did, yeah. So I was actually like the head hop. I worked there from like 15 to like 18, and I got promoted to like head hop. But I was not the best skater all the time, and it wasn't always my fault. It was because the owner wouldn't pressure wash the, spots or whatever. So sometimes I would hit like an oil slick and then be floundering on the top of people's cars and stuff. But I want to just go on record for all the old school Sonic like skaters. It is not like what it is today. We just had a tray. You had a tray. There were no cup holders. There were no holders for the ice cream. Like these kids today, they have everything. Like they have cup holders on their tray. No, you as a skater had to manage that mess. And your little crook of your arm, you couldn't use your stopper because it would jerk you like this. So you had to do like, I had a nice little twirl, like with my skates to stop. I know. I have roller skates still, right?
Well, you're by yourself on that because I can't skate.
I'm not gonna lie, I agree with you on like the kids nowadays have it way better because I used to watch my mom as like a waitress, like 30 dishes lined up the arm. And I mean, just going like in between tables and stuff. You're like, wow, how is she balancing all that? Then I'm holding like one glass of water and I'll drop it. Well,
Like,
shit.
Clean it up. Right.
Like, what time is it? You check your watch and the drink starts pouring all over you.
Yeah. So what's your favorite childhood memory?
I really was not expecting that to be.
Yeah.
You said our question, so.
I would have to say a lot of it does fall into camping, but I have a specific memory of my uncle and my dad arguing about the worst way to die, by bear or shark. And this has become a heated debate in our household for about 17 years now. So I always try and ask somebody on the podcast if it ends up leading down like a movie about Jaws or something. I'm like, what would be the worst today? Because I thought shark. But then I saw The Revenant and I saw Leonardo DiCaprio get fucked up. And I'm like, it's a bear. It is a bear 150%.
I think it's got to be a bear. I'm with you. Only because, like, typically if you get bit by a shark, right, their blood, like, they could smell that stuff for miles in the water, right? So eventually, like, it's not gonna be long before you get tore up by a bunch of sharks. So, but with a bear, I mean, that bear could snack on you for a little bit, come back, snack on you some more. I mean, like, it could take a minute. So I'm leaning more towards, like, I'd rather get eaten by sharks.
This leads into a way better question. What's one thing that as a kid you thought for so long and then as an adult you found out was complete horseshit?
Hold on, I gotta think.
And you can't say Santa Claus.
No.
Because I had a really good one with the shark one. I went to a shark museum when I was like 19, and I always thought like they would just eat the living crap out of you. I saw in a shark museum that they only take a bite of you, but that bite is so huge it ends up you end up dying most of the time. But how they see you, I thought they just attacked people. I looked at an upward angle of like a person on a surfboard with their arms out and then a seal. And they look so identical. And if your eyes are like on kind of either side of your head, like a flounder, it's got to be difficult as shit.
Yeah, that's what they say. If there's a lot of seals in your area, there's a lot of sharks because sharks like to eat seals. So,
of the sea.
So sad. I don't know. I didn't really like believe a lot of shit. Like my mom didn't really tell me a lot of like fake shit. She's Korean, no nonsense, no fuck shit. So I don't know. I didn't really like believe anything.
Well, we all know I'm stupid and fall for stuff all the time. So this one actually isn't, and I kind of talked about this one a little bit on our podcast, but I can't think of one as a kid, but I can think of one as an adult that I like fell for.
What is it?
Snake venom.
Oh.
Yeah. So did you know that you can add snake venom to your drinks, just like a drop or two, and that shit'll fuck you up?
Yeah, because it gets fused in with the alcohol.
No, that'll kill you. Don't fucking do that.
I also heard from a reliable political figure that if you start start drinking bleach. Was that what it was?
Yeah.
So someone was talking about this the other day to me, and I was like, "What? Yes, the bleach. I heard about it. Like, are you talking about like killing like coronavirus or something? Yes. No, don't do it. You'll mush your insides.
I heard Tide Pods are back in trending stock now.
Oh, I hope not. That's so stupid. Like,
okay. There's another question. Where do you see the future of the world going right now? Like in the next year, what do you see? Hopes for the future. Have some hope there.
I mean,
it depends. I don't know. A lot has to happen. It's very bleak at the moment. I don't see it getting
better card games like Apples to Apples.
I mean,
Apples to Apples is boring.
I never played.
You have that game.
It doesn't mean I played it.
It's like when
Yes.
it's like when you're like, you go to a store, you just buy a bunch of books, and then you have a bookcase like I do right here. I have a little bookcase, but there's only books in it that I don't read. It's just there for show, so people walk in like, oh, they must be educated. They read a book.
If someone walks in and sees a ton of games on my shelf, though, what do you think they think?
It depends. Are they games or movies?
They're games.
Oh, are you talking about video games or board games?
Like, we have the games come
Yeah,
in like boxes. So we have board games, card games, all those.
They probably think you're like a party goer. You like to have parties at your house, and by parties, it's like a group of friends getting together, like a book club or cult, whatever you want to say, and playing board games.
That's what I was
It is a
wondering.
cult.
Yes.
Come join our cult.
Yeah, exactly.
What? All right. I'm trying to think. What are we on question 3?
I think so. Hold on.
What's one thing that you're afraid of that the other person doesn't know? You guys don't know each other's fears or what you guys like?
No, we do. But that you
Yeah.
said that they don't know.
Okay,
So
then
that's
what's the fear you do know, and then tell me the actual one, because I feel like you guys can't. Nobody's really honest with their fears.
we might be. I'm afraid of moths, though.
You're afraid of moths?
Yes.
It's not that bad.
I know, but there's more. So I'm afraid of moths. They freak me out. Like I have legit I can't deal with moths. And then I am deathly afraid. And I don't know if Esther knows this. She might know it, but I don't know if she's ever been in a car with me when it happens. But I don't like to go over bridges, like high bridges over water. It makes me completely freak out because like my biggest fear is like my car flying off the bridge.
Yeah.
And then drowning. So like you have that fear of heights and then drowning. So I always have to have like the window cracked, and I'm like, which normally I'm fearless in pretty much every other thing, unless you're a moth or a giant bridge. It's windy, and I'm like, I can't deal.
So if we're fighting Godzilla, you're not going to be able to handle that scenario because there's a giant moth monster.
Nope.
And
And there's a bridge. Nope, we're done. I was like, the world is done. Sorry.
Does it make me a bad person if I don't think about going off the bridge myself, but if I saw a car in front of me do it and then I would jump out and save them? Does that mean I'm a bad person if I have that thought?
I don't think so.
I actually think about driving off of the bridge when I go on
What the fuck?
I don't know.
What's this
Like
gonna
not
feel
as like I'm gonna do it,
my
just
car
like
for a dive.
I don't know. I do that. I'm just like, what if?
So that brings me up to a question though. So is there something stupid in your childhood that you've done and regretted? Because I think I'll tell mine. Like, let me give you an example. So when I was 5, we had that bunk bed. Have you heard this one?
Mhm.
Okay, so she knows this one. We had a bunk bed when I was 5 though. And I used to go up there and take a nap all the time. And I had the top bunk. And it was like this old wooden bunk bed. And it had like this very, like maybe 2.5-inch, like side piece that held you in there. And every day I would go up there, and it had to have been months. I was sitting up there at my little age, and I was like, I wonder what it would feel like if I rolled off this thing. Maybe I was younger than 5 because I wasn't in school yet. So I'd been like 3, 4. And I was like, I wonder what it would feel like. And one day I said, fuck it, my little head. I was like, let's see what happens. And so I purposely rolled off the top bunk of the bunk bed and knocked the wind out of myself. Like I'm bounced on the floor. Like this shit was like 7 feet up in the air. And I just whoop, and knocked the wind out of myself and was like, what in the hell? Like I remember being like, not being able to breathe. And I remember being a kid thinking, well, that didn't feel good. Like, I guess you know now. But that's the type of person I am. I'm like, this might be a really stupid idea, but let's find out what happens.
So I was a bit of like a mischievous child, and I had a bunk bed too, and the railing I would always lean on the top, and my brother was on the bottom at the time, and that sounded so dirty. That sounded so wrong. But I leaned on the top of the railing, and I was just putting my weight on it, and the thing broke and went down, and the railing hit the back of my brother's head. This full on 5-pound metal thing just cracked him in the back of the head. And he thought it was on purpose. And I got in a lot of trouble, but I was like, that's like the one time I didn't actually mean to do anything bad, and then something happened. So I was like, I just got to commit to being bad the rest of my life. Jump out the window when
Exactly.
everybody's sleeping and stuff. Everybody's like, where'd Robbie go? I'm outside in the yard. Like, can't hold me. Can't hold me.
I love that. That's hilarious. I don't know. Like we used to have bunk beds, and we would like jump off the top to another bed that we had on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Just to fucking do it. But my brother has rolled off. Like he always had to have top bunk, my older brother, and he rolled off plenty of times because he sleeps wild.
Oh, so not like on purpose.
No, it was like late ass at night, and then all of a sudden you hear bloop. And you're just like, oh, he fell off again.
I have another question. If one, are you a prank player? And two, if so, what do you think the most ridiculous prank is that you've ever done?
I'm actually not a prank player.
Can it be a prank that went wrong?
Yeah, I mean, those are great.
And does playing with fireworks count as pranks?
I mean, sure. Why not?
Because I was trying to light off M80s, but I would take the single ones. Like, not, you know how they come in, like some of them come in like a pack where it's like 6 in ones?
Yeah.
Well, I would take the single ones, they light even faster. So I went and I kept throwing them, and it turned into like Would You Rather, where I actually threw it and it got maybe a little, like maybe like a couple inches away from my finger, and I felt it pop, and I felt the wind hit my finger, and like I just felt something cool run down my finger, and I was like, that's blood. But I was like, did I just blow my finger off? But I didn't, thank God. But it was like that second where you're like, oh shit. And then after that experience, and I went to my dad, like, I almost blew my fingers off. He's like, okay. The next day he showed me the movie with Ashton Kutcher where the kid blew his arms off. Now I've never touched a firework to that day.
Yeah, no, that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's good. I used to work in the hospital, and we had a dude that blew off his first 3 fingers because he had like a firecracker in his hand, and it just went blah. It just unexpectedly busted. Which I don't know if I could say unexpected. Like he wasn't expecting it to pop at that time.
So it went too fast.
Yeah, it was just too much. Like he didn't have time to. Yeah, and it just went plop, and he.
You know, we talked about like the guidance counselor, the teacher that brings like super into things. That's like you could say with that, like, oh, some people are like duds, and then other people's just pop too early. Damn, there's a deep meaning behind the firework.
Damn, look at you. You're the guidance counselor now.
Fireworks in fortune cookies. It's an explosion in your mouth. That is an advertisement, and whoever makes fortune cookies out there, please use it.
I really like that one, actually. So we all know I'm a huge prankster.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably one of my best pranks was so my dad was in the military growing up, and this was in an era where they separated the housing, and they don't do that so much anymore. They still do, but not so much by rank or whatever. But we lived in housing on post, and it was like mixed officer housing, and they had nameplates and with the rank and everything on it. I must have been like, I don't know, 8th grade, whatever. And one night I was like, hey, we should switch all these. Because, you know, there's an ego piece with it that comes along with that piece for a lot of the officers. Sorry, not sorry, just going to say it. So we did, but we didn't switch them with like the Smiths with the Halls. We switched like the Smiths with the Browns with the Halls with like the McGregors. So nobody knew where their stuff was at. And so the next morning, you know, people wake up and they come back from work and stuff. And it was like 2 days. You heard like all this rumbling and stuff and parents complaining. And my dad comes to me because we never had a nameplate. My dad was like, he did not care. He was like, I don't need people to know where I live. He was like, it doesn't matter to me. So he gets this knock on the door, and I hear him talking to somebody, and I'm like, And he comes back to me and he was like, hey, did you do that? And I said, he's like, listen, you're not going to be in trouble if you did. And I said, yeah, it was totally my idea. And he was like, that was amazing and hilarious. And he was like, and people are so mad. He was like, did you you didn't steal any of them or anything? I was like, no, I literally just switched them all over. And he was like, that is so funny. He was like, people are pissed. I was like,
yes.
Mischievous.
I'm terrible.
Esther, where's your questions?
Oh man. I don't know. I don't have any.
Esther's a planner. She told me the other day, Rachel, I am a Virgo. I need time to plan. And I'm just like,
how long does it really take for you guys to plan out an episode? I'm guessing Esther does like a lot of the.
Honestly, not that long.
no.
Like sometimes we get the game the day of. As long as I can read the instructions, then I'm okay.
Then, as long as she can read the instructions and then explain them to my stupid ass, because that's usually what happens. And I'm like, wait, what?
It's funny. Somebody just clicks on it, like, why is this episode 5 hours long? And like the beginning is like, all right, so we have to play the game like this, and then it's like reading the whole directions and understanding it.
We just had.
That, we are actually doing. Esther is doing a beautiful tutorial in the very beginning that will be separated out from our actual episode because I am that much of an idiot sometimes. So I'm like, wait, what? But I also think it's so that they can stop me from cheating. Because then I can pretend like they can be like, no, you were supposed to know how to play. And I'm like,
well, sometimes like the instructions aren't like too long and things like that. It's just better to cut it from like have a little separate how-to and then the actual podcast.
plus I screw it up.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, just go ahead, take a listen back to some of the other ones. I'm like, wait, what? Well, I'm just gonna fuck it up right now.
It's kind of like when I play Monopoly as a kid, somebody read the directions and then we all just agree to it. And it's like the storytelling effect where you tell someone down a line and it keeps on going. And by the time it gets to that last person, it's completely changed.
Yeah.
Now we're playing Monopoly and people are tossing out rules. I'm like, I know that's not a thing. Like, I know for a fact that you can't just sell your business to another player or you can't do this type of stuff. It's like, no, it's in there. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you can't. Look it up.
Yes, you can.
You
Listen,
you can't.
I believe that it's called strategy. I like to argue. Esther says cheating. I say strategy. I feel like it's different.
Apparently you're supposed to lose the whole property and then somebody has to buy it back from the bank. I'm like, I didn't know that. I thought you could sell it to get a scrap of cash. Like if you're trying to sell a kidney or something.
Yeah, it's called subletting. Like this happens all the time.
Can you rent your kidney? I'm really curious now.
No, you can't rent a kidney. That's a little too weird.
Like I'm going to give it to you.
You can't take it back.
I mean, technically you could take it back, but it's probably frowned upon.
Would that really land you? That would land you in the bad moral side if you gave somebody your kidney who was dying. And they're like, oh, he actually doesn't need your kidney. And you're like, all right, take it back out. I want it back.
I want this.
Well, you would probably have to take it back through force typically. So I'm thinking it would land you more like in jail. Like I'm saying, so like, you know, schematics.
Well,
life is just being in jail with 2 working kidneys.
And then leaving jail with one.
Right? If you get to leave.
It's okay. Nobody would want my kidneys. They'd be like, oh, Lord.
Like,
they'd be like drunk as fuck on entry. It's like, oh my God. Get this kidney out.
You're like, Jack, don't do tequila.
You guys have a drink of choice when you guys play games?
Not really. When we first started, it was a lot of wine, which I don't mind. We like wine.
Yeah, we like wine.
And then we started moving into liquor.
Well, I mean, when we really made
Corona,
like, we were cool with wine for a little bit, and then Corona was like,
and you need something a little more.
Something else.
Yeah.
And they threw some more stuff on us, so we were like, nah, we need something a little harder.
Yeah.
Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Just try it.
I don't even like whiskey, but I really like peanut butter.
If I'm gonna drink, which I rarely do, it's got to be the hard stuff because beer to me just doesn't do anything.
Yeah, we don't.
Beer is disgusting.
Screwball peanut butter whiskey is something that's how you get kids addicted to alcohol. It just tastes just like a Reese's or a chocolate bar or something. It doesn't even taste like you're drinking whiskey.
Can we get some?
Yeah, we can get some. I'll have to find it. I don't think I've ever seen it because I actually I do drink whiskey. Mine is mostly Jack Daniels.
Damn, you tossed out a hard liquor.
Oh, well, me and Theon drank, my fiance, producer, everything on the behind the scenes on the podcast. We actually drank a bottle of Jack Daniels and didn't get drunk, and we haven't bought it since.
What is your worst drunk experience?
Which one?
There's one that sticks out into your mind that it's so hard for you not to cringe when you think about. I killed a whole giant bottle of Fireball, the giant ones. I was just sipping it the whole time, and I ended up getting to the very last couple of drops. I was watching that movie with Jackie Chan, The Forbidden Kingdom, where it's like a kung fu movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I got up from watching that movie, went to the bathroom, and that's when it all hit me. The toilet got farther, and I woke up on the bathroom floor. I guess I had a shelf in my bathroom that was behind where I was going, and I walked backwards into it and knocked myself out while peeing. Then the next day, I ran like 15 miles on a treadmill, and I sweated nothing but cinnamon. So now where if you make French toast or anything with cinnamon, I will puke. I can't smell any of that.
Oh no.
Yeah, I can't drink tequila after I took my brother to Vegas for his 21st birthday. So that got rid of tequila for me. I thought it was water when someone handed me a glass. I was like, oh my God, thanks for the water. That's how you know you're messed up. And I like wanted to die.
Somebody's been fracking. This water has some oil in it.
And then I think probably the worst time was that one time we went to Waffle House.
Oh, we wouldn't tell that story.
No, I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
She went to so she and one of the Ashleys went to the restroom. Rachel was fucked up. And she came back to the table and she was like, I washed my hands. And she had throw up right here on her. And she was like, guys, I washed my hands. Because me and my other friend was like, did you wash your hands? Are you okay? And then she was like, I washed them. And it's like, whop. Throw up.
The worst part is, I was like, oh, yeah, yep, that's fine. Like, super loud. And they're like,
oh, I didn't care about that piece. It's fucking Waffle House.
But I did wash them. Apparently.
She did not. I washed my hands.
Did you wash them or did you just run them over the water for a second?
I mean, I think there was soap on there. I think I legit just totally missed like this whole spot here. I mean, listen, I was
But the water runs down, so it would have to hit that spot unless you were doing it upside down, like how you draw dicks, where it's like you're drawing it.
I probably was. Like, I was legit super messed up.
She was messed up. It was hilarious.
Oh my God. Such a mess.
Yes.
I mean, I think we both have had our times. Like, typically when we go out, we have rules when we go out. Like, no high heels or wedges. Like, we yell at each other all the time because we have had so many shoe malfunctions.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that we have with shoes. One of us has broken a heel. One of us has had our
straps.
Split.
Yeah.
Someone else lost the entire sole.
Yeah, the whole bottom of the shoe has just like ripped off.
It's gone. I mean,
I have a serious question from a guy to a woman's perspective. Why do you wear heels when you go out? Even if they look nice, I feel like, don't you want to be comfortable? That's just terrible.
So we don't. Not anymore.
No, anyway.
But maybe the younger girls do it because
I mean, they're young. They can have that.
What happens if a bear comes? How are you going to run away?
Well, we bet on girls like that because then Esther and I have a better chance.
Exactly, we're running. We're praying for that situation.
I'm out of shape. Like, I'm like, wear your heels, honey, because we gonna eat you first.
Any date I've ever been on, I'm like looking at, I'm like, why are you wearing like heels? And they're like, what? Well, we're going out. I want to look fancy, and I'm just like, don't you want to wear a flat shoe in case we ever get into like a mugging situation? She's like,
okay, listen,
you'll protect me. I'm like, hang on a second. No, I'm not. Don't me gonna protect you. We gotta run, okay? If I'm faster than you, then I'm getting away, and I'll call for help. But I don't know you.
Okay, Robbie. Like, first of all, you said, what if we're getting into a mugging situation? I'm messed up, but I'm already thinking, is this fool gonna try to mug me? Like, I'm gonna need you to listen. I'm gonna help you out, Robbie.
We don't think about worst case scenario. We're told if we look nice when we wear heels and wedges. So that's what we do because that's what we've been told that that is the standard of looking good. So
Well,
I mean, and then you get to our age where we're like, fuck that shit. I'm wearing flats. I'm too old for this shit.
I love how Rachel just brings in perspective, like, you're a psycho killer. That person thinks you're a psycho killer. That person thinks you're gonna get mugged. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you see like the simpleness on my face, and you're like, there's no freaking way. Unless I'm like, what's his name? Oh God, Billy Bob Thornton in that one movie, Sling Blade, where he's like, yeah, like that dude's
I'm
a
not saying
psycho.
that. I'm just saying that girls are so like amped up, and sometimes like dudes say things that we're like, what? Like, and you guys don't even realize that when you're saying something, like and so like that's all. Like my brother is a lot like that. Like he'll say things, and I'm like, dude, did you really just say that? Because
I just had a coworker say that to me like 2 days ago. She's like, are you either best friends with everyone, or are you just like, you don't care what you say? I'm like, honestly, I'm just talking like how I would just talk to myself, to be honest with you. I talk to myself a lot.
I mean, I do too.
Hell yeah.
It's a great way to figure out what you're doing in life. Like,
exactly.
hey, what am I not doing, or what do I need to do? Well, I need to shoot a 5-star movie like Pirates of the Caribbean, maybe do 30 of those so I can buy 59 houses like Johnny Depp and have that Johnny Depp money.
59 houses?
He owns a lot of houses. He actually bought every house on his block but his neighbor's house, who had lived there like 20 years before he moved in, and his neighbor wouldn't sell. So what he did was he built a statue that's a middle finger flicking off his neighbor's house, which I think is fucking awesome.
It's also kind of presumptuous, though. I mean, you went and bought everyone else's houses up when they came for sale, and you just want this whole like little island. I mean, maybe the neighbor wants to continue to live there. If I were the neighbor, I'd buy 2 double fingers and like a giant ass poop emoji, and I would just kind of have them like with the poop emoji pointing
What's with
out
the
there.
What's with the?
I don't know. That's our sound effect. We like to make sound effects.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like a double fuck you. Like, I mean, it's a little presumptuous. Like, but I mean, 59 houses? What the hell? So are they just empty?
His manager's like, you need to stop buying houses because you're almost bankrupt. And he's like, I'll just make another movie. And he makes another movie, and then he buys another house. He doesn't care. He just has them everywhere.
So no one's living in these with the housing shortage that we have?
Maybe some servants that he has, but no, probably not.
Dude, I used to like Johnny Depp. Fuck you, Johnny Depp.
If you had any amount of money in the world and you could do one thing with it, what would you do? And if you say donate to charity, I'm calling you a liar.
No, I'm not going to donate it to charity. Like,
legit,
I'm going to take care of myself and my family, obviously, first. But then I am legit going to set up my own stuff, because there are certain pieces that I feel like aren't funded enough. Like the piece that I deal with on my own personal stuff is like early childhood education, which is birth through like age 8. And that piece is underfunded. So I'm going to only deal with that sector.
That is awesome. Esther, how are you going to top that?
I'm not.
Yes, I'm glad she's not, because I'm hoping she's going to throw amazing parties that I can come to after I deal with sad stuff like during the day.
Exactly. I don't know. It'd be totally selfish. Like, as long as I get, I guess I'd have to buy a house then. So bigger space.
Please, like, buy like, it's big enough so I can come to have like parties at your place.
Yes.
Okay. Think I would move to like a foreign country that's like economy is just so poor. Like if you move to like Mexico, and I would build a really nice like big mansion, and then I would own the whole town like El Chapo, but I wouldn't be doing drugs or selling them. I would just really help the people out there. Like, let's build sustainable plumbing. Let's build all this. Let's have a whole farm of donkeys instead of just having one pack that goes around the whole town and collects everybody's shit. I want to be sustainable to the people and their king.
If you think about your thought process, though, well, besides the king part, if you think about that, if all of like, even 10%, not even if 5% of the world's billionaires did something like that, can you think about like how big the impact would be on the world?
Well, people always say, like, why do, like, that celebrity's so awesome, he donates to charity. It's also a giant tax write-off. So that's why they're putting it, like, that's the one thing I don't like that should be put on, like, a fortune cookie, put in a card, put whatever you want, is that if you have to show people that you donate, is that really donating? I feel like that's just a glorified thing. Like people post on Facebook all the time. I donated pizzas to the hospital to help out. And it's like, why are you posting about it and just do it? Like,
I'm right there with you in that piece. I mean, I get why some people do it. Like they may need that, and I'm not going to knock them for it. But for me personally, I'm one of those people who do a lot of things behind the scenes. But you wouldn't, if you know me, you know I do it. But if not, you don't know that. So there's a piece of me who like maybe on the podcast comes across like a certain type of way, but then like I do actually really do all these good deeds, right? All right, validate me, thanks. I was like, okay. On my off time or during work and things like that.
Most definitely.
I'm gonna have to quote Rachel on our last episode that said, "I ain't want nothing, and I ain't gonna ask for nothing."
That was Vivica.
Yeah.
I was Vivica.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just stuck on the grammar aspect where I was
Yeah.
like, oh man.
Because she was 5 or 4, and she was so mad about that chicken bone. Chicken bone, the child.
Chicken bones, and pocket beef jerky.
So I didn't tell you, but recently I have gotten these. I have some colored contacts in because they were actually cheaper than my clear contacts because it was a long story. But basically, the doctor wanted me to come back in, wouldn't give me my prescription. I was like, screw it, I got the prescription on the box. I don't have time for this right now. I can order colored contacts cheaper. So I ordered these ones that I thought were going to be closer to my eye color. They were not. But then I also ordered like these green ones, and I had them in, and Vivica hadn't seen me because she had spent the night over at a friend's house. And so she comes out to say hello, and she's like, what's going on, Mom? And I said, I don't know, Vivica, what's going on? She's like, there's something wrong with you. There's something with your face. She was like, what's wrong with your eyes? I was like, oh, I had a surgery because my oldest daughter has green eyes to be more like Naomi. And she was like, you did? I don't like it. I think you look like a demon, and I'm gonna cry.
You are now a demon.
I was like, I'm not a demon. I was like, I'm just kidding. They're contacts. But she legit was not playing with me. Told me that I looked like a demon, and she was gonna cry, and she did not like it.
It all goes back to my dates every time. Like the next day I wake up and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? They're like, what? I'm like, why do you look different? They're like, I was wearing makeup. I'm like, it was a lie. It was all a sham. I don't like it. I prefer it without, because I want to know what I'm getting. It's like when you go to the store, like, I want the floor model, and then you get the thing when you get home, you're like, this is nothing like the fucking store.
I do believe that you can do a whole lot of things with makeup. And if girls, like, there are some very talented makeup artists who can completely transform 100% what you look like. Like, they could make me look like
That's not fair. That's not fair at all.
But I was going to say, I don't think the average girl can do that much difference.
My
with
past
makeup.
3 exes have hid so much where I'm like, you have freckles? I didn't know that. That really actually plays a factor here.
Freckles are determining. I don't like you if you don't have freckles. Get out of here, freckle face.
If it's evenly placed, it works. But sometimes you're like, did the sun just slap you like hard? I know that's wrong to say. I have freckles.
I was about to say, you can't say that.
If you're dating me, thank you. That's all I have to say.
I mean, everybody has their own, physical preferences. I mean, that is very true. But sometimes, you can't help freckles, though.
No, as long as they're not doing like the fake nose thing and like the tape on their cheeks and stuff
when
like
they let
that.
it down and suddenly it's like,
and then it's like,
you see that one coming. Yeah.
You never seen those videos? Like the people will put like almost like modeling clay to change the form of their nose. Yeah.
So that actually brings up a very good question. So I used to work with this girl way back when who had her nose done at like 18. And she was getting ready to get married. And I was like, do you tell him that you had your nose done? Because she had a honker. I mean, this thing was like a schnoz. Like, I mean, she's a beautiful girl. And even without her, like before her nose job, she was still very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It just, she wanted it if that made her feel better, whatever. I'm not knocking her, but I'm like, do you tell him before? Because then what if your baby comes out with this
Huge.
And now he's like, where the hell did this thing come from?
Well, if they're
Like,
getting married, I'm sure he's seen older pictures of her.
No, her parents did not live there, and they were not coming. Like, I don't remember what the situation was, but it was kind of like an elopement.
Oh, well.
Or do you just, if you got a rotten nose, do you just trick them into it and they're like, brah.
Just be like, guess what? That's for my grandma.
No, that's when you're like, that must be someone on your side of the family. That's what
there
I
you
would
go.
say.
Yeah,
like, that's got to be someone on your side of the family because I've never seen that thing over here.
I'm really leaning to my child theory now, where I might just have to spend a couple summers just going around town, having a bunch of kids, and then going to an island in Hawaii somewhere and just waiting for them all to come find me 18 years later. Mortal Kombat style.
Hell yeah.
Then that be an entertaining reality TV show, like 90 Day like Fiance is so popular. Imagine if I just like this guy had 3 years where he just had like 40 kids each year, and then he moved to an island and they all found him 18 and 19 years later. Then he built a Mortal Kombat ring and they had to fight for his love.
Oh, for your love? No, that's awful. Then you're like, no, you were a piece of shit. Why would I want to fight for your love?
And fight out of anger.
Exactly. I'm fighting to kill you. I'm not coming for love.
Or just like the other way where I could just turn into a monk, because that way you guys just brought up with the fake modeling clay stuff on that. Like that actually really scares me. Are we that perfected as a society to want that? Like there's a TV show that taught a life lesson called Courage the Cowardly Dog. And it said life is full of imperfections, and that's the beauty in it. And that came from an eel in a bathtub. That's a life lesson. You should hear a life lesson out of some stuff. We don't get enough of those. Like when the Magic 8 Ball says, try again later. That's what life is. It's all asking later. I want it now. I want to know where I'm going to go and how I'm going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
That was deep.
Yeah, that was deep.
Oh, see, but I mean, if you can change it, when you change it, if you can change the imperfections and something that you totally fucking hated.
I used to with my freckles, for instance. I used to take like lemon juice and try and lighten them up that way. And then I saw a photo of Jensen Ackles without makeup, and I was like, he's not that fucking handsome. Oh, I'm okay. It's like when you look at Ryan Reynolds and you realize, oh, he doesn't keep that body 24/7. You're like, oh, he's a normal person. It's like, what do we show on social media gets us like body dysmorphia in real life, where you don't even want to leave the house because you're afraid what people will look at you without a filter. I'm like, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I got this is what gives me anxiety.
Oh, sorry. But I mean, it's to each their own. If they want to change it. But I know that would be a little, I mean, but we all hide things when we're dating and change things. Like you're not always the same person when you first meet somebody.
Yeah, no.
What did you notice change about Rachel? And Rachel, what did you notice change about Esther? Look at that. I let it back into an actual part of the conversation.
Actually, I don't know. I don't think we were dating each other.
Yeah,
So.
this is true.
I think with friends, it's a little bit different. Like I don't have to like,
although the
hide
first time
anything.
I met Esther, I didn't know if she liked me because Esther I'm very loud and like out there, and Esther is very much more reserved, and she kind of takes her moments to like read people and just kind of sit back and, just observe the room and things like that. Whereas I'm more like, hey, what's going on? So I wasn't quite sure how she, like, if she liked me or not. And I was like, either she likes me or she hates me. Because there is no other option.
Yeah.
There's no one who's like, yeah, I kind of feel this way about her. No, I never get those. Either you're like, I fucking hate her, or oh my God, I love her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the lamest one I've heard. I mean, I was going to toss out something like I met my buddy, and then after a while I figured out that he sleeps with his eyes open, and I'm like, what the like that's something you warn somebody when that happens.
Do you? I sleep.
If you sleep with your eyes open and you don't tell a friend that spends the night, then you're a psycho, because that's like something you need to alert people of, like, hey, by the way, I sleep with my eyes open, so if I'm just staring at the ceiling without blinking, don't freak out.
Well, I guess you wouldn't need to tell me that because I'm blind. So I take my contacts outside.
I don't sleep with my eyes fully open, but sometimes mine are like half. But I mean, you don't need to know that. You should be sleeping when I'm sleeping. Why are you looking at me?
I was talking to my buddy at 2:00 in the morning for,
Why are you staring
a
at me?
good hour and a half while he's staring at a screen. And then he just randomly goes like that. And I'm like, what was that? He goes, oh, I sleep with my eyes open. He's like, what time is it? I'm like, it's 2 a.m. And he goes, dude, I've been asleep since like 11:30. I'm like, so I've been talking to you and wondering why you weren't responding. I just thought I wasn't saying anything intelligent. You know, where you keep trying to go with a conversation. And then eventually I was like half in and out of a game at the same time. I was like, dude, that was 2 hours I was talking to you. He goes, yeah, I don't know a thing you said. I was like, dude, I actually thought I was getting closer to you as a friend. And now I really feel this.
Oh, no.
It's like when you diverge personal stuff and then like you're like, oh, how are they gonna take that? And they're like, what'd you say? And you're like, oh, thank God I didn't hear it.
I said nothing. Take it all back. That's hilarious. I don't know. That's things that you never think to tell people though. Like I would have never thought to tell you that. But I take pictures of people sleeping, so
she has like a bunch of these. She's like, don't go sleep, Rachel. And
it's actually
and we
like,
all know the minute like a movie comes on the TV and we watch one together, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because I've got to go. So like those times I'm like, okay, I don't have the attention span.
Well, it all leads to a factor of like what I really enjoy about like when you hear group podcasts like yours, or you know, where it's just friends really coming together and just hitting the record button. Not only is it a chance to kind of like, you know, hang out after, you know, if you have a busy work week and you can't get to, you know, hang out, go out partying or something, you get to sit down and be like, hey, we need to record this for an episode we got to release. It's kind of like forcing you guys to get together, but you really didn't need that force, because once you guys get there and start having fun, you're loving every second of it. And that's what I really appreciate, because like, you can tell from like probably when you guys were first hanging out, like very first talking, it was like that new relationship energy. And then now you guys are so comfortable around each other where literally you guys are recording a podcast that's now introducing everybody else to your guys' friendship, which I am so pro for. It's what I think podcasting should be about, is about having fun. And so many people do it for listeners. So many people do it for this or that. I'm like, it's really about just having a great experience that creates an overall great episode.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where we're at too. Like nobody's trying to get rich off from this. If it happens, that'd be awesome. But like, I don't think that was ever our goal. Our goal was just like, I think you're funny. You think I'm funny. Someone thinks we should have a microphone. Fuck it, let's play some games and talk shit. Like we're doing it anyway. Like we were doing it on like weekend nights anyway. So why not just throw some microphones up in front of it and see what happens?
Yeah.
Until someone takes that and like hook that comes out of the curtain,
just
pretty much.
Now, is there anything you want to say to the listeners out there, and then also promote your show too?
Yes. So you can follow us on Instagram, Cards with ENR, our YouTube, Cards with Ester and Rachel. Here's Andre, my dog.
Why Andre?
Why Andre? Oh, because me and my fiance Theon were heavy on Project Runway. And when Andre was a contestant and Santina was always like ripping on him, it's like, Andre. So yeah, that's where he got his name.
Andre loves me because I really don't mess with dogs. Like I have one, I love my dog, but Andre like knows that I'm like, all right, Dre, all right, leave me alone. He's
fascinated. He's like, please touch me.
Like, please. Because I don't. I'm like,
but yeah, so we do new episodes every Tuesday on your favorite podcasting platform, and you can come play a game with us.
Yeah. Oh, we're going live too soon, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna start going live actually September 2nd. It's gonna be our first Instagram live where we're gonna play a game with the people, so you guys can catch us there. Hopefully we'll see you.
Are you gonna?
If you're not doing anything Wednesday night, I think we're gonna start at 7.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's like my bedtime, but I'll be up for it.
Oh yeah, don't be up for it. Yeah, if you have to work, that's fine.
Are we playing cards?
I guess yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's the one.
Can I vote for Crazy Eights? Because that's the only card game I know how to play.
You can put your vote in.
Yeah.
I worked at a casino.
But we'll have to find.
I worked at a casino. They were trying to upgrade me from security to play this like the tables, and I was like, "No, I'm good. I'll get a panic attack when everyone starts saying it's a royal flush. It's all this." I'm like, "Look, this is giving me anxiety."
It's like, no. Yeah, I still don't get poker or anything like that.
I just wait for them to tell me to lose or tell me that I did lose, and I'm like, "Okay, well, it was fun, I guess. I lost $600,000." That's been an episode of Out of the Blank podcast with Cards with Esther and Rachel, and they fixed the spelling for me. I like that.
Yay.
And Andre.
Yeah.